Good evening, everyone. How are you guys tonight? I'm a few minutes late getting on, but my name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy, and I'm live tonight on the Dixie Paint pages. So we are trying something brand new tonight. If you guys follow me, you know every Thursday evening I go live on the Dixie Paint Facebook page. But tonight we're also welcoming our Instagram viewers, which I'm really excited about. I'm super nervous. So because we're experimenting, you guys are experimenting with us. This is going to be a first for us. We are live on Facebook and on Instagram right now.
Bam, bam.
Yeah, so Sean did some yoga this morning. He really brushed up on his camera skills, and we're rocking 2 cameras tonight. So if you guys have questions while I'm live tonight, pop on and don't feel afraid to ask, and we will answer questions as we go for both our Facebook and Instagram audience. If you're on Facebook, welcome Instagrammers tonight for their first time live with us on the Dixie Paint page. And thank you guys for being patient. I'm going to say that in advance. So tonight what I'm going to work on is we are going to do a basic ombre technique. Only we're going to take it, we're going to throw it on its side. Literally, we're going to throw it on its side, and we're going to make a diagonal gradient. It's a gradient finish. An ombre
So what's
finish.
a diagonal look like?
Looks like this.
Chuck Norris cold.
Yeah. So my name is Brandy. I'm with Brushed by Brandy. I'm a Dixie Paint brand ambassador. And let me walk through the finish we're going to work on with you guys. So I'm going to come over here, and this is what we're going to get to in a minute. This has a really rough base coat on it. The reason I threw a base coat on this is because I want to be able to get a second coat with you guys tonight. And we're covering a white primer with black paint. And it's really hard coverage to get. So I threw a base coat here so we can do our second coat too. But we're going to throw a really rough base coat on this one first. Now the color finishes that I'm working in is, you guys have seen before if you follow my page, I've done this finish before. Only I did it in, my darkest shade was a navy blue. This time we're going all the way to black.
Hey, I just want to throw this out there. We got a hi from Chile.
Oh, Chile, welcome. Exotic. I feel like I'm on vacation all of a sudden. People keep asking why we don't paint out from poolside, and that's because I don't want to haul all my gear out to my swimming pool. So my darkest color on this one is going to be Dixie Belle Caviar, which is their pure black. And then my lightest color that I've chosen is Dixie Belle Fluff. Now let's talk about what I'm going to put in between these two, because these are 2 really difficult colors to blend. They don't get any further apart than these 2 colors right here. So I want to add a teal in the middle, and I know that I want to go to antebellum blue with that, but even still I've got some pretty wide gaps here. So I'm talking to you guys a little bit about how I choose paint colors and how many colors I choose to put in. So when I've got colors that are still really far apart, I try to fill those gaps with a color that's in between. You have 2 ways to do that. I could either take Caviar and I could mix it with a little bit of antebellum blue, and that would give me a color in between.
Sorry, I'm feeling worldly. Argentina?
Yeah. Wow. Is this on
Oh, Australia.
This
is
Facebook?
on the gram.
Oh, this is on the gram.
The gram.
The gram is way more trendy. That's where the trendsetters are.
Hey, let's not discount Florida.
Florida, we got love.
Come on.
Too. That's where Dixie Belle comes from. We love Florida. So when I'm trying to choose colors in between to fill in these gaps, I look for colors that are mediums. And I could either take these 2 and mix them together, and that would give me a color in between those. So I could mix the antebellum with the fluff, and it would give me a color in between there. But Dixie Belle has 69 colors in the line, so I don't usually need to do custom mixes like that. I will fill it in with another color. So here's one that goes nicely in between fluff and antebellum is Vintage Duck Egg. I'm going to scoot over to my paint shelf for a minute, which means Sean's got to move.
Come on now.
Those cameras. I know. I just
Oh, way to
threw a stick in
way
it.
to throw on some South American there. Yeah. All right.
Okay. So
Some Spanish.
when you're looking at the colors, there are so many different blues you could choose that could blend in between antebellum blue and cotton. What you're looking for is you want colors that have similar undertones. So these are 2 similar light blues. This is Savannah Mist and the Gulf. Now Savannah Mist is a bluish gray, or a grayish blue. It has gray undertones in it, so it's a little bit cooler. If I wanted to take it in those cool directions, go into the grays, that would be a better choice. See, this is Sawmill Gravy. You can see it starts getting into the gray tones. The Golf has more green undertones. So if I wanted to keep it in the green undertones, this would be a direction I could go. And I'm going to put these in the middle, in between. And you can see that either one of them will work as a mid-tone color. Are you staying with me?
Hey, no, I am. But this one moves a little. It shakes.
Right here.
Hey, I feel like you're favoring one camera over the other when you're looking.
One's got the shakes.
Crazy eyes? Huh?
Do you want me to split them apart? So the Golf works great. I'm going to throw, this was vintage duck egg that I showed you. And I'm going to show you Savannah Mist in between those. So can you guys see how that little change in undertone changes the direction of my color scheme a little bit? So I feel like vintage duck egg could work here. I also feel like the Golf could work here. So one thing I'll tell you guys, I have the luxury of having all of the Dixie Belle colors on hand where I can hold them next to each other.
I'm sure we'll get there, Sheila.
And see what the tones look like next to each other. There's a 4-color gradient. That's cotton, or I'm sorry, fluff, sea glass, the Golf, and antebellum. And you see how they all kind of go together? If you don't, what I recommend is make friends with your local retailer, you guys. Most retailers have these colors on hand, and you can go in and hold them physically next to each other. Another recommendation I want to make is go follow Dixie Belle Paint on Pinterest. They have a board for every color in the line. So if you're not sure if one color leans a little bit gray, leans a little bit green, go and look at all the pictures that you can find in that color, and they'll be in different lighting examples. So then you can see, oh, this is a brighter photo. In brighter lighting, it leans a little more green. Lighting makes a really big difference in the colors that you see in the paints. So those are a couple recommendations. Either find your local retailer and go check them out in a shop, or if you can't and you need to do it virtually, check out the Pinterest page for Dixie Belle Paint. Let's go ahead and get painting, you guys. So I'm going to take these down from here, and I'm going to start giving myself a really, really basic coat. This is just a base coat because I need to get coverage. Right now I've got a base of Dixie Belle Slick Stick on here. And I use Slick Stick on this piece because there's usually 2 questions you need to ask yourself before you start throwing paint on. These are
Do you really want to do it?
Yeah, do I really want to do this? How committed am I really? That's what, number one, you do need to ask yourself that. It's not as easy as
Asking for a friend.
As you might think. The train just left the station without me. 2 questions you need to ask yourself is if you're going to need a primer. Number 1, is your surface a slick surface? Are you painting plastic, glass, laminate, a non-porous surface, anything like that? You need Slick Stick. It's a gripping primer to go underneath your paint. These had a really slick surface on them, so I went ahead and put a coat of Slick Stick on them. The other question you want to ask yourself is my piece does it have stains or odors that I need to block? And that's when you need a stain or odor blocking primer, which is Dixie Belle Boss. They're 2 different products. They don't overlap each other, but you need to ask yourself those 2 questions. Do I have a slick surface? Do I have stains and odors to block? So these had a slick surface. I answered that question with a big fat yes. I need Slick Stick. So when I do this finish, this side table is going to be in the opposite direction of that one. So we're going to go ahead and give this a diagonal in this direction. And I'm going to start with my Dixie Belle Fluff. So I chose Fluff because Fluff gets some of the best coverage of any of the Dixie Belle whites. It's very popular for kitchens. Because of the Dixie Belle whites, it really gets the best coverage. It's a little more on the gray side, I would say, in comparison to cotton, which is the purest of the whites. I'm giving myself a little bit of water to work with, and that's just because I want the paint to glide over this Slick Stick. I am painting with my drawers in right now. I do take them out. After I get my blended finish across the front, I will take them out and I will paint inside the boxes. So I take a little bit of paint, nice long even brush strokes, all going in the same direction. Now even if I lay my paint on like this, all over the map on that, I want to come back afterwards while my paint is still wet and clean those up so I have nice long linear smooth brush strokes in my paint. A little bit of water down here. And can you see, this is my base coat. Each drawer, my white goes out a little bit further, until I get to the bottom. It's going to go all the way across.
So could you have tinted your primer?
Absolutely. You can tint the primers. Now you don't want to tint them so much that you compromise the effectiveness of the product. So you're not trying, do you guys notice when you go to a paint store and you have them tint a primer? A tint is just that, it's a tint. They're not taking it to the full base color.
It's like a medium.
Yeah, it's if even that. They will tint, if you're going to paint, for example, black, they'll tint it to a pale gray. If you go buy primers, now not all primers are the same, you guys. There are a million different types of primers. So you notice I talked tonight about Boss and Slick Stick. One is a gripping primer, one is a stain and odor blocking primer. They do not they do not serve each other's purpose. So you need to make sure that you get the appropriate primer for what you're working with.
So Lisa's asking if you're going opposite the other.
Yes, I am going opposite the other. So what I think is cool about this finish, I've done this finish before, I'm repeating it for a custom order, is when you turn these and face the white sides to each other, you've got the black on the outside. Oh my gosh, I did that backwards.
I just thought you were going to recoat. You're good. Carry on.
Where were you guys 5 minutes ago? Hello, I need your help here. See, this is what happens when I talk. I'm going to push this one aside. I'm going to go ahead and let that coat of white dry.
So we can coat it.
Yeah, it's a coat of paint. When you make a mistake, it's a coat of paint, you guys. I'll be able to let that white dry, and same as I was going to paint black over the white in the first place, and I'll just put a coat over it. So, problem solved. I need you guys. You guys are my brains while I'm on camera painting. Let's work on this guy here. Well, we had some good conversation out of it at least, right? Okay, so when I'm blending, I'm going to start with my darker colors, and we'll start working them over into this white. Black into white is a tough combination, so I'm really going to be glad that I have these in-between colors to smooth that transition out. I'm going to open up just the same as we have lighter colors in between our white. My medium is this antebellum blue. Dixie Belle Midnight Sky is a softer black than the caviar. So I'm going to use a little bit of the Midnight Sky to soften out this transition. So the first thing I'm going to do is give myself a wet coat of caviar on here. I cannot believe I did that tonight. As I'm telling you I'm going opposite, I'm doing the same. Like as I'm saying it, the word.
Well, in a mirror,
yeah. Yeah,
it was still the same.
I should have told you guys, it's just because like, everything is reversed on camera, huh? Should have told you that. And it would have taken like at least 20 minutes to figure out, wait a minute. But I need to give myself a wet coat of paint. I'm going to blend these colors together. But I gotta blend them as they're wet. So I need to give myself some fresh paint that I can work into each other.
Agreed. That's motivational for anyone that's afraid of making a mistake.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
You can fix it.
People ask all the time, you know, do we ever make mistakes? Oh my gosh, you better believe I do. I've had people message me.
I'm gonna take this one.
And
Sorry.
I will.
Go ahead.
I've had people message me and I'll zoom in and say, look, here's a drip in my clear coat. Here's a place where my, you know, Dixie mud didn't dry perfectly flat. It's not perfect. It's not perfect at all. And I think that's important because these are hand-painted furniture pieces. I'm not trying to duplicate a factory finish. I don't want to be a factory finish. I want to be artistically painted furniture pieces. People could go to IKEA and get a perfectly painted white furniture piece. That is not what I'm competing with.
Aside from your painting, Sheila brought up a point earlier, blah, blah, blah. And now the question is being thrown out on the gram. What's up with that thing you're rolling around on?
Oh, okay. We got to answer this for all our Instagrammers. Okay. You guys, I've had this stool since before I started painting. This is a mechanic's stool. So this one's from Lowe's. And when I got it, it had a post in between. Yeah.
Okay.
The post broke. So Sean removed the post for me, and I set the vase on here, and I can roll around on this. On my Facebook page, actually on Instagram too, I believe, on the gram. That makes you sound really old, by the way. That's not the cool
What?
word for it. So not cool.
On the G.
Yeah. I posted a version of the stool from Harbor Freight that would work. That you could take a piece out of it, and it will bolt onto just the base, and then you've got a low rolling stool. Message me if you need a link to that, and I can show you where to find it, which version it is. But it's a Harbor Freight, which is like the dollar store for tools, has a version that you can assemble incorrectly.
Oh, Brittany says she wishes her the stool broke that way. One of the casters fell off.
Oh man, that happened to me. Actually, it's on the one. No, it's on this one. One of the casters came off. And thankfully it has 5 wheels, so it still stayed balanced. But my son said, "Hey mom, what's this wheel on the floor?" And I was like, huh, I'm totally not rolling around on a level surface. So yeah, side note, maintain your casters. Check them every once in a while. I'm giving myself a middle ground here. A little bit of my antebellum blue. Okay, and I'm going to start working this in with some in-between colors. I think the black into the antebellum is going to be much easier than the white into the antebellum. I have 10,000 brushes out here. I'm going to scoot over and grab
How about
some.
10,001?
Probably need 10,000.
That just means I got to clean more of them.
Yeah, Sean is my brush cleaner, my paint sprayer. What else are you here for? Remind me again?
Huh? Who am I?
Huh?
Yeah.
Someone said on, where was I live? Everybody needs a Sean. Everybody does need a Sean. Sean really does wash my brushes off for me. So I'm overlapping right now. I'm going to take a little bit of my antebellum and a little bit of my caviar, and I'm going to start working these colors together. I'm just going to pay attention to this part right here. You don't want to work too large of a surface at one time.
So, quick question.
Yep.
Is slick stick recommended if they don't sand the piece before painting it, or is sanding always recommended? And it's because they're going to be tackling a laminate nightstand.
Laminate is an easy answer. Laminate should always be, just put slick stick on it. If you sand laminate, well, you need to understand the difference between laminate and a veneer, number one. Laminate is a plastic coating over wood. That is a laminate. Veneer is a wood coating over wood. So they're two different things. So you want to know what that exterior most coating is. If it is in fact laminate and it's a plastic over the wood, then you should use your slick stick because your outermost coating is non-porous. It's plastic.
So you have a video on cleaning brushes.
Yes, I do.
Because I love the question of how do you clean brushes. I know how you clean them.
It is super effective. Here's what you want to do. You want to call Sean. Let me give you all a cell phone number. Go get a pen. So really quick, before we answer the brush cleaning question, I want to show you something. I like to lay on paint with my Dixie Belle Mini. I like to work the colors together with my Dixie Belle Oval Medium. So my oval medium I call my neutral brush. I'll call it an eraser because I use it to erase the transitions in between the colors. I like to keep this brush as clean and dry as I can. I'll take a rag and you'll notice as I'm working with this neutral brush, the oval one, I try to keep it clean and dry. If it starts getting too muddy, I will pull out another one. You'll notice I've got a few of them here. And I just get another clean one. So what I'm going to end up probably with here, because these colors are so divergent, is I'm going to end up with a neutral brush for my darker colors, and I'm going to have a neutral brush that helps me blend these lighter ones together. Because I don't want to carry my caviar over here and start getting it into my white. And this brush does start muddying up. But one thing I do when I'm working colors together like this is I will take my brush and do a little swirling motion. If your paint starts to feel dry, just add a little bit more water. So I'm going to use a little bit of a swirling motion, just kind of like this. And what the swirling does is, as you're going, you got to picture it's pulling the antebellum into the caviar, pulling the caviar into the antebellum. Do you see what those circles are going to do? It's pulling the colors into each other. And I just used my furniture piece with that swirling, and I made a palette here. So this little section right here, I've got this part that's the exact mid-tone in between caviar and antebellum, and I just mixed it on my piece. I come down here, kind of do the same thing. I'm just working those colors into each other, using that swirling. And then let me clean off this brush a little bit with my rag. And then, since I got now a swirling brush stroke, I can come back and just feather that back to a straight brush stroke.
I just want to apologize to everybody on Instagram now, since it makes me sound old if I say the gram.
Sean doesn't even have an Instagram account.
Hey, I do.
You do?
Yeah. Thanks for following me, jerk.
Yeah.
So
clearly it's a great account.
So, just in reference to the way that the camera is that you're catching some of the floor in the picture, and I can't get around that.
You know why? Because we have Instagram on a vertical orientation. Camera lined up like this.
Huh?
Facebook is on a horizontal orientation.
I feel like when you're talking to them, you need to address...
What if you turn the camera? What does it do? We're going to try something. Hang on, Instagram.
I would think that if it's already going, it's going to...
We'll just... No. Physically rotate the phone.
That's what I was just going to do.
Sean was going to turn himself upside down.
I'm way too old for those tricks.
Yeah. Oh, you just pull this back out.
Yeah.
No.
That would have done the same thing as the phone. I know. We build rocket ships here.
Boo.
Yep. Rocket ships. This is no SpaceX. It doesn't work. All right.
It's a failed launch attempt there, guys. Okay, I just gave myself fresh paint because I was up here chatting and my paint started drying down here. I'm going to do the same thing on this drawer. We're just focusing on this drawer right now.
I just want to give a quick shout out to my best friend for the day, Marlene. She says my voice is so relaxing.
They say that to me too. They're just trying to gain your trust.
Yeah.
So same thing down here. I'm going to use that swirling motion, pull those colors together. Very soft hand when I'm doing this. I'm not pulling the paint off of the dresser. I'm just trying to pull those colors into each other. And then I'm going to soften it out. This is that clean, dry brush. I feel like I need a little bit more caviar right here, so I'm just going to add a little bit more caviar.
And then the true drying time of the paint before you can do, top coat it.
So I usually wait overnight in between all of my steps. I will do a base coat, wait overnight. I will do a second coat, wait overnight. I will do my glaze, wax, whatever decorative finishes I'm going to add, wait overnight, and then my top coat. So there's, as a general rule, overnight is a pretty good answer. If you're just doing a basic finish, the paint itself dries in a couple hours, and you can usually feel it. If you put your hand on the paint and it still feels cool, like it's been in air conditioning, it's moisture in the paint, it's still wet. So if you feel any coolness in the paint, that's how you can tell if your paint is dry or not.
Kathy says I have a radio voice. Nah, I have a face for radio too.
So story time. Sean actually emceed a radio show one time. And then they asked him...
Yes, this is true, Stacy.
Then they asked him to leave, and he's never gone back.
Quite abruptly.
Yeah, no.
They didn't even open the door. I kind of went through it.
It was a station that had, like, the guest DJ program, and Sean, he just came home one day and was like, I'm going to MC a radio show next week or whatever. I was like, okay. No, I agree. I think Sean would be great for radio, because he just likes to hear himself talk. He's one of those guys.
Says the person on camera.
I hate being on camera. I've always said I think this should be reversed. If Sean had any artistic talent whatsoever...
What?
I mean...
Wow.
This would be reversed.
Throwing down the compliments. If he basically had any talent...
No, that's how you know that your friends are your real friends, right? That's how you know I love you, because I'm honest with you.
Oh.
I would never lie to you.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Your
Can't
flies-
wait to see what it says on my tombstone.
Your flies down.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you test your friends out. You want to do this periodically. You want to post a picture of yourself wearing an ugly dress. Yes.
Yeah, me?
Dress.
Okay. I do that a lot.
Yeah. Well, that's the ultimate test, especially if you're a guy. That
explains why I only have 2 people left following me on Facebook.
Ugly dress, and one of them's not your wife. You post a picture of yourself in an ugly dress, and then all the people who come on and they're like, oh, "It looks so good."
Yeah, the ones that hit like and whatever, I'm just gonna unfriend you.
Unfriend.
Yeah.
You're gone.
We're good.
Yeah, those are not the kind of people you need in your backyard.
I'm just there to boost their morale.
Yeah, to boost their friend count.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, so I'm doing the same thing. I'm giving myself fresh paint to work with, and I'm just going drawer by drawer. And each one, I'm moving this line. So I started over here where my transition point is here. My next drawer comes over here. Then I'm coming over here a little. Everyone gets a little bit further over. I'm using that swirling to pull the paint into each other. Still with a soft hand. Now the antebellum looks a little bit wide, but you got to remember I'm going to add transition colors over here, just the same as I'm doing in between the black and the blue. Swirl them into each other. I'm going to clean up my caviar a little bit. I want to keep that nice and crisp, a really crisp black. So if I pull that color over too much, I'm just going to clean it up. I didn't add any paint as I'm cleaning it up. I'm just using my brush, and then I'm going to take this neutral brush and I'm just going to clean up my brush strokes. Okay, and I'm keeping this clean and dry as I can. And then our last one down here, I'm going to keep right about this point. Give myself a little bit more caviar to work with. So what my plan is I'm going to take this line where these colors converge, and I'm going to put a gold leaf stencil over the top. And I've done that on camera before, so I have a video of that you guys can see. So I don't need to do that step with you guys, but I wanted to show you the paint steps. I'm going to come over and we're going to start working the white into the antebellum. I'm moving over here. Oh, water bottle, you were supposed to follow me.
Ew.
Logan, you want to go grab me my Mr. bottle? This is my 6-year-old Logan. Say hi, Logan.
Oh, he didn't get on the gram.
Okay, same thing up here. Only up here, because I feel like the white into the antebellum is a much harsher transition, I'm going to give myself a little bit of vintage duck egg to help me work those colors into each other. So just a little bit, and you can see right away how this kind of gives me a middle ground. You know, this is a really pretty look too. If I just were to take this brush and pull those colors and not blend them.
So do you have, random, but do you have a favorite color combo?
I like the blues. I love the blues. It's no secret. What I tend to use most is what I like the most. You know, that's where my eye goes to. I have a blog up on my website at brushedbybrandy.com that's got a series. I think it's got 20 of my favorite 3 color combinations. Think 3 color combinations that I've used before, colors that go together well. And I've got those in a blog post all together where you can see an example of that color combination. So then I'm going to swirl the antebellum into the vintage duck egg with a really soft hand. And you can see how already I've lightened it up significantly from that antebellum blue. The swirling actually creates kind of a moody, stormy brushstroke almost. So I just stuck my hand in a big blob of white paint.
And what color white is that?
This is Fluff, and I chose Fluff because Fluff gets really, really good coverage. Of the Dixie Belle whites, it covers better than, you know, just about any of them. So can you see how that swirling creates kind of a stormy brush stroke, and then I'm just gonna feather this back out on, this is on the darker side. I don't wanna lose that transition, so this is a clean, dry brush. Just softly dabbing that out a little bit, because I'm only working over here right now. I'm gonna give myself some clean fluff to work in. But keep it in small sections. Don't get overwhelmed and try to work all of it at the same time. Oh, I accidentally picked up, I've got 3 clean dry brushes going on right now. So then I'm gonna take it, same thing, I'm gonna work this vintage duck egg into my fluff a little bit. Give myself a little bit more fluff because it muddied that up quite a bit. So I'm just gonna pure up the edges, just bringing that back to pure right on the edge.
But 74, Sheila. She was asking how many on the gram. Are you enjoying yourself?
Oh my gosh, I'm so hilarious tonight.
Says one person.
If it helps at all, I was driving in the car with my oldest son, who's sitting right here, so he can hear me the other day, and he said, Mom, the other day, his friend Tyler asked me, your mom has a YouTube channel? And he was like, yeah. And I said, oh, is it not cool for your mom to have a YouTube channel? He said, no. Okay, a little bit of fresh paint. That was the fluff. I'm going to give myself a little bit of vintage duck egg to work in. And then I'm going to swirl these together, the fluff and the vintage duck egg. But you can see how every color that I add in between, so sea glass would even be a really pretty transition between these. Swirl them together, pull those colors into each other. I'm at a bad angle. This is my
yeah,
bad.
you are.
This is my bad side.
You really had a bad
Believe
angle.
it or not. No, I'm at a bad angle. I'd prefer to be sitting in front of this, but then I know I'd be blocking it from you guys.
It's not the angle, it's bad. I mean, I'd like to sleep tonight. Look, everything looks good. It's good.
These pants make me look fat? No, I dare you. Answer that. Let me get my
The old win-win.
clean, dry brush and work those together. See what I just did there is I used my clean, dry brush that has the caviar, and it's too dark. It just made a really dark line there. So I need to fix that. I need to go back to my lighter colors, and I need to get that brush out of my rotation.
Can you just limit the amount of brushes you use?
No, I can't. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really have, anytime I'm doing this, I end up with 50 brushes out. So, you know, it's good to have one Dixie Belle brush. It's even better to have 20 Dixie Belle brushes. I can't lie to you. I really do have a brush for each color, and if I'm starting to get my brushes muddied up, I'll go get a new one. Just get a new brush.
Oh, Sheila, I've always got my foot in my mouth. No big deal.
So I'm trying to cover right now that line that I made with that brush that gave me too dark of a line. I just got a new clean, dry brush, which now has white on it. I'm not refilling these brushes with paint. I'm just, see, all my brushes have now white.
Jennifer's wondering if you paint in your sleep. I'm pretty sure if I started painting, it would look like I painted in my sleep.
Here's my response to that. Sleep? Sleep?
Oh, yeah, huh?
Yeah, I know not what you speak of.
What's this sleep thing?
What's the sleep you speak of? I'll just give myself a little bit more paint. I'm going to work this white into this vintage duck egg. And then I did have a brush that had white on it, so I'm going to do this right here, my little swirly. Swirly, swirly.
Sheila has a point. You could have asked how many views does Tyler get?
Tyler has
Bam!
Tyler has a YouTube channel. He's a 12-year-old.
How about that?
With a YouTube channel. Now, his YouTube channel is private, so you guys, nobody can see it. So, all I tell him is, guess how much I make on my YouTube channel every month? Bam! That's all they need to know. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, that's cool. It is funny to me though how different social media channels have different types of following. Like, or Instagram is a totally different, you know, it's the instant gratification photos. Some people prefer Facebook, which is more chatty, talkative. YouTube is very visual.
I'm digging Pam right now. She's swirling her dill pickle in her Bloody Mary.
Oh, wow. I think we'll be out at the pool after this, guys. After I get done with my live here.
And we just bought new goggles.
Yeah, they got new goggles for swimming, so we can give those a try. I'm going to turn this a little bit because I'm getting a little, my angle's a little weird. And then I think I'd like this too. I'm probably going to come back and I'm going to move this a little bit more this direction. On this stroke in particular is where I need to move it over. So what I'm going to do that is I'm going to carry my vintage duck egg over here. It just gravitated this direction. I think that's because I'm sitting over here. But I really want this transition to be going more this direction. To where when I get down to towards the bottom, it's about 3/4 of the way over. Kind of where I envision it. And I could map this line out beforehand if I wanted to, which I probably would have helped me. Give myself a little bit of antebellum. Using that little swirling to kind of just soften that line, work those together, and then I can use my clean dry brush. I mean, I could leave it like that, and that's actually a really cool look, just the swirling. Swirling, the different movement of your brush will create different brush strokes and give you different finishes. So, I mean, I like that, this kind of stormy. You guys see how that looks kind of stormy and angry, like an angry sea. I'm going to give myself some water here. This is my clean dry brush with my darker colors on it. You can't see? You're trying to watch this video? You know what you can watch it on? My YouTube channel.
But I have a problem. You don't let me watch YouTube.
Yeah, that's right, I don't.
How am I supposed to watch it?
Because you're a mom.
That's my job, huh? My job to be so mean to you guys. All 3 of my kids are sitting out here watching this.
It's the only thing to do.
Because we turn the internet off.
Yes.
Alright. Give myself some clean fluff. My fluffer. And then I can work those 2 into each other.
Fluff sheet.
Fluffy sheep.
Yup.
I'm kind of digging the swirling effect. And then my last one down here, I need some clean fluff.
Let's see if I can get in a little.
Yeah, come look at like this here, how you can see how the swirling effect creates this moody transition. It's not a perfectly smooth, even transition.
But it's really pretty though.
Yeah, you like it? The audience approves, guys.
I'm the only one who really likes the painting.
All right.
Like, no one's just trying to say move.
So I did end up with 3 neutral brushes because I found that every transition, if I tried to use a different one, I was carrying the colors into each other.
So we have the question of where's Ginger?
Oh, Jen.
She's sleeping.
Yeah, she's hard to have on camera. She wants to play. She's still a pup. She's only Ginger's my 1-year-old boxer puppy, and she just wants to play. She somehow doesn't care anything about painting at all. Who knew?
She's not trained either.
Not trained how to paint? So I'm liking this. What do you guys think? Well then.
I mean, for you it looks okay.
If I don't like it, guess what? I get to redo it on this one here, right? This right here is a little abrupt. I'll probably change that a little bit. Just gonna swirl those back into each other. I like that better. Down here, soften that up a little bit. So I think that's pretty. I think that's pretty. And then I'm gonna take the gold leaf. It's gonna wrap this corner up onto the top, and it's gonna come down in a diagonal form over this transition point right here. So can you guys see that? I like it. Now we need to repaint this one that I totally messed up at the beginning. But this one will have the white starting on this side, what a concept, and the black will be over here. And what I think is cool is when you put the white edges to each other, the black looks dominant. But when you turn these, swap them, and put the black edges to each other, you see the white on the sides, they look more white. So depending on what colors you have in your room, you can either make this look appear more white or more black by which sides you put next to your bed. If you want to change it up sometimes, you can do it that way.
So is the top going to be solid?
No, I'm going to carry this line right onto the corner right here, and I'm going to have a little blended corner. And then it's even going to carry, you can even see right here how I did the black, and then it's going to start coming back down on this side right here too. That's how fancy I'm feeling. So that's my plan, is it will carry across the top and a little bit even onto the side with the gold leaf as well in it. Okay? Alright you guys, I'm going to call it a wrap tonight. So I'm really curious though, you guys, come on in and let me know what you think of having this on Instagram and on Facebook at the same time, if that worked for you guys. Pop on and answer any questions, and I'll come back and answer those as well. So the colors I used again tonight, we started with Dixie Belle Caviar is my black. I worked that into Antebellum Blue. Then I've got a little bit of Vintage Duck Egg, and into my fluff. And can you see how I carried black into white? But not directly. By putting that color in the middle, it gives me a little bit of space to work in a blending to it. So really pretty color combination, going to be really pretty with the gold leaf and then gold hardware as well. Alright you guys, so I'm going to pop off for tonight. I will be back next Thursday. If you guys like this, we can try doing Instagram again too, if you guys enjoyed it. But let me know what questions you have. If you don't already, please give me a follow at Brushed by Brandy. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Hop on and give me a follow. I've got tons of videos over there. You guys have a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Thank you so much for hanging out on this Thursday evening. Good night, everyone.
And it's really pretty.